And you're on. It's hard for me to sit without something in my.
Me?
Yeah, I just picked you.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm acting chair tonight. This is a design review committee meeting for May 6, 2025, 4 p.m. Lower room B
Oh, no, I've got.
in the lower level. We're here to have a formal design review of Usafia Corporation. Is that how you say that? I think Usafia. 49 and 55 Route 28 and 10 Drews Way. Assessors map 36, parcel 77, 78, 79. I didn't realize there are 3 parcels. Applicant is proposing an addition for the existing commercial building to create a total of 5,074 square feet of commercial space on the first floor with a new second floor for two-bedroom residential units along with various site improvements. Let me turn it over to looks like Mr. Ramirez. Are you going to be our speaker to give us a presentation on this, or
I think it's gonna be Bill.
Bill? Who?
Yeah, we'll share those duties. Thank you. I can't change my name, but my name's Bill Avery. Joe Casali Engineering, with Warwick, Rhode Island. And we have Oscar Ramirez, from Aronian and Associates Architects, who will take you through the architectural portion of the project. I can walk you through. Can you guys see?
Oh, there he is. Hang on one second. Dick Martin just entered. He's also on the design review committee.
Dick, you want to sit over
We
here?
can see it, but it's very small, Bill.
We
Can
do
you-
have the drawing.
We do have the drawings, but is there any way of you blowing up and zooming in a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know why it's attaching to that. You are sharing screens.
Mhm.
In case
You
you-
okay?
Yep. So while you're doing that, Dick Martin has come into the room. He's the chair of the committee, so I'm going to turn it over to Dick and let him run the meeting from this point on.
You're doing perfectly fine.
How do you know?
I thought I did a great job
You
getting it
did,
back
yes.
off. There you go, Dick. All yours, buddy.
It's a little bit better now that I closed.
Are you seeing this?
We're seeing the plans, but they're just kind of small. That's
The
all.
perspective.
Which is okay. We have paper
There
copies
you
in our.
go. Okay, there you go. That's
Yeah, like is that better?
yeah.
Mhm.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, all right, because I'll scroll around. I just want to make sure you're on the right screen here. You're not seeing my
Yeah.
email.
Yep, it's your
Uh,
existing conditions plan.
All right, perfect. So thanks for joining us today. Thanks for accommodating us. We are looking to go over an overview of what's proposed. As I heard discussions, this is a staple in the area. Becker's package store. It is 3 separate parcels. Lots 77, 78, and 79. And the existing structure is really pushed onto the eastern and most northern part of the site here in the front along the Main Street frontage, with associated parking to the west. So we are looking first and foremost to combine all these lots together. And we are proposing to put in a new expanded structure. And Oscar will get into the architecture here, but basically the first floor of this to expand out, you can see the limits. I don't know if you can, you can see it up.
Yep.
Yeah, we're good.
Here.
Good.
That's the back wall of the building. To expand the first floor for a larger Becker's package store and add 2 residential units to the top on the second story. With doing that, we propose some site improvements to complement this. We are proposing, it's a little different from the last time this was presented. We had some of the parking mainly along this frontage here. We've decided to change this a little bit just to provide better accessible parking access along the building edge onto the sidewalk. Create more pockets of landscaping along the frontage. Have the core parking for the package store right on the side, with having designated parking in the back for the residential entry. We also are cognizant of the Mass DOT requirements, or I have a plan here of the future improvements along the streetscape. So we obviously have to file a permit with Mass DOT, and we'll be working with them to kind of modify that, and just modify the curb cut, but keep in the proposed bike lanes and accessible access that they're creating on that future roadscape. Going into drainage, there's an existing low spot on the site that pretty much accepts all of the drainage watershed of what we're proposing here. So we're going to keep that design point, funnel everything through some BMPs, some infiltration, some sand filters, bioretention areas, and have everything go stormwater wise to the existing design point on site. We also need to have a trench drain and some small infiltration practice up front, as we can't put water onto the state highway. We're also proposing to upgrade the existing septic system. Currently it's just a very small old tank in the back. We're proposing to move the septic to a new location and have it up and conforming to Title V standards. And really that's the extent of the site improvements. We are working with a landscape architect to, as we move forward with the Mass DOT permits, and the planning filings, have better command of the specific plantings, but we envision an evergreen buffer here, some street trees along the Route 28 Main Street, and a lot of shrubs and flowering plantings around the building, which is shown in the very nice rendering that Oscar has put together. So is there any site specific questions I could answer before we really get into the meat of the building?
Anybody got anything? Oh, good, thank you.
All right, I might actually. Surprise, surprise. I think generally the design and the site plan is good. I think it's got enough in-law trees, is that right?
I think it might be a little short.
Yeah.
They have 33 and you need to do 1 tree per 8 parking spaces.
Okay,
So that's something that you're probably gonna need to coordinate with the building commissioner on what would be considered. If you put a tree in, typically I say if it's in the parking area and you could have put a parking space there, but you put a tree instead, then that counts as an in-law.
Okay. We could probably
But
take
if you're doing
another
a
one back
perimeter, we
here
can't
and
have
put
a
some
parking
parking.
space, and that's typically, yeah. Exactly.
yeah,
So,
yeah, because right now I think it's only what I would call 2 trees in the lot.
yeah, maybe the third one next to the loading area, if you put a tree in there instead of shrubs, you might be able
Yep.
to get that.
Absolutely, we have more parking than required, so we can certainly
Okay.
scribe in some additional plantings. That's not an issue.
Any plans for the rear section of the lot?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if Oscar and the owners can answer that, but not to my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, for this project, no, this is probably the extent of it. I think in the long term, there could be some potential expansion perhaps, but at the moment, yeah, we're just looking to expand upon the liquor store just for business purposes. And then start incorporating some of that housing just to help fulfill that need that I think is required in the city. So, or the town, sorry. But yeah, at the moment, I think we're just planning to just utilize this portion of the lots.
So you're doing a redo and addition to the existing building, or is that going bye-bye?
Essentially, I mean, we're trying to salvage kind of like the upper corner, really just because of how close it is to the property lines, essentially. Like that's probably the real reason why we're kind of just keeping that area and then building beyond that. But essentially, yeah, we're trying to mainly add, I think we're about like 5,000 square feet. Total 4,000 square feet of an addition of a footprint. Essentially, just for programming wise, there is gonna be a full basement added onto this as well. Along with the 2 units on the second floor as Bill described.
Okay, my other concern would be considering this is a new build and there's plenty of room for it as opposed to. I mean, I don't know what we mean by proposed. Evergreen buffer along Drew's Way. But Drew's Way
It's considered a road.
it's considered a
Yes,
road,
it
right?
is a road.
Yeah, so that being
houses back there.
considered a road, it should meet the criteria for the trees, just as the same as you put 4 in the front on 28. And not just a small evergreen buffer type of thing.
Gotcha, along that entire way anyways, I don't know if you can switch to the site plan.
I wouldn't say the entire way, but the area in front of the,
The parking.
in front of the parking area.
Gotcha, okay,
And also. So we're trying to put the new building just where the old building was, which is awfully close to 28.
Right.
Um,
28's at the upper,
Down the left side.
oh, wait, it's just 28.
okay, but on this A,
Right here.
A10. Okay,
Yeah, that
all right.
one.
And to be honest with you, I'd have a little concerns. I'd rather just this whole thing be pushed back a little bit and everything's being new, that it meets proper buffers on all sides. In front of the building on 28, that would also require the continuation of the 3-inch caliber or 4, forget. 3-inch caliber trees in the front. So, I mean, essentially, we're dealing with a whole new building, which is great, because what's there is now is not very nice. And, but as long as there's room for everything to fit properly, I'd much prefer to see a better buffer in the front on the easterly buffer. Well, you don't need 10 feet there. I think you got that right. Maybe not.
yeah, we're about 8 feet, I believe, from that property line.
So we have 12 feet, 12.4 from the front property line.
Right.
And the rear. Where we were holding, we're making the condition better than what it is.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of scale wise, but you can see it's,
You definitely are, but when there's room to do something right, we love to see you do it right. 8 feet to the sideline, especially when the motel next door is so close on their end, which isn't your fault, but seems. I mean, I'm not thrilled with that, let's put it that way. So. Some changes could be made to that. That's something I'd like to see anyway.
Mr. Chairman, can
Yeah.
I make a couple questions or comments?
Yeah.
I guess my first question is, what parts of the building do you plan on keeping?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Very little.
So,
Can you show it? Is it just the front? Well, go ahead, show us.
what are you demoing and what was it add on? Yeah,
Yeah, so essentially what we're keeping is the existing sales area. So the area that if you guys have been in the store, it's the area that essentially they have all the racks now and you could create a sale. The idea was to try and keep the store almost open while we construct the back of it. So it's gonna likely be in some sort of phased approach with construction, but that was kind of the idea with keeping that front piece as well. So being able to kind of still keep the store open while we build along the back and build into like the basement areas and items like that. So that was kind of the extent. I mean, in terms of the existing square footage, we were keeping a little over 900 square feet, but obviously the addition of it is a lot larger at around 4,000, so.
I get it, they keeping the building. I'm a little concerned with the setback from, I mean, if I kind of agree with Dick that if you could improve your setbacks, that would be a wonderful thing to have happen. I'm not asking you to tear down the building, to get that setback in the front, but you know,
Well, I
12 feet.
likely would, I guess, I think in order to comply with, I think the recent setbacks, we would have to likely demo the entire building at that point.
Well, to get to the front setback, sure. I'm not sure about that, what would that be, so east
I mean,
side,
So here, this orange line here represents the zoning setbacks with the extent of the existing building.
That's the 12 feet?
No.
no, the dotted line
That's the 20.
that right
Okay,
there. So
okay.
as you can see, they're substantially within the setback.
Is there front yard setback shown, 30 feet or is it 25 feet? Cause you're a corner lot, so you have two fronts and two sides.
Yeah,
Which-
this is, make sure I'm showing the correct thing.
Well, it's
I'm sorry, I didn't measure it.
No,
it's
no,
not
no,
complying with anything. Oh, it's existing.
30 feet. That's a little off with that.
Yeah, so you could, the actual zoning is 25 feet for a corner lot in the B2 zoning district.
Okay. All right, but we're still
We're still like, yeah, we're,
like 15 feet into it, maybe even 20.
yeah, the existing building is just so non-conforming in all attributes, so.
All right, well, those are my concerns. Others,
Dick, if I could,
Yeah.
so the existing building stays, a new one in the back, what are you using all the additional square footage for?
The additional square footage on like the new addition itself?
Yes.
Or-
Yes,
bigger living so.
Oh, it's still I don't, if you go to the plan, the upper, yeah. So basically, we're using about 2,000 of the new 4,000 square feet to increase the sales area. So now we can get more gondolas, more coolers, all throughout the liquor store, just to improve, same thing, business wise of it. And then utilize the remaining 2,000 and then the full base for storage of
I
all
see
the
what okay, all right, okay,
Just store itself now, it's just so small, it's very cramped, so we're just trying to improve upon it.
so this first picture that you have, then, the colored one, this is what you're striving for?
Right, correct. So you kind of see, obviously, we're expanding along the back, I assume you're looking at the render.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, I've got the existing one pulled up on my phone here, and that does the rendering does a nice justice to the building, so.
right, so we're trying to add on an actual entry and then build upon the rear, and then obviously we would have to reskin all the existing material, like remove the existing materials, do new materials, just to kind of make it look more cohesive, make it look like it was actually thought through in terms of, and it's not just an actual addition to what's there, so.
Gotcha. My only other comment is thank you for staying in the town and expanding. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and I think that was kind of the owner's intention as well, as, I mean, obviously, I think they really enjoy the area. I think it's grateful for their business and kind of increasing upon their business while also introducing some much needed housing as well. I think would be helpful for everyone, so.
Kathy, you have anything to say?
I don't have, I like the building. I actually have no problems with the building being so close to the front. It's always been like that. I like it just the way it is. That's all I have to say.
today.
Thank you.
Huh?
You like that?
Do we want to talk about the
I
architecture?
mean, the drawing.
Sure.
We're still on site. Yeah.
You guys had gone through site plan review before, design review, because we thought it was gonna be a road project, and that's the process for a road project. The site plan's quite a bit different now, so I would recommend, that you coordinate with the fire department and the building commissioner on any zoning compliance, and just make sure that you're still okay with them. Because I know that they did have some fire had some comments in site plan review and making sure that you're adhering to those comments.
Yeah, I have the site plan review comment sheet and we kind of went through it to adjust and adapt this one, but what if it's okay with you, what I'd like to do probably is, take the comments from today, formalize that with the, updated plan and then send that out to everyone who attended the site plan review and kind of address that in the comments that were there.
Okay, and you, in your site plan, you have the sewer kind of coming out the rear of the building. Because we are having municipal sewer, it might make more sense to have it come out of the west side of the building so that you can easily, and then also provide a connection line. So you don't have to dismantle the parking lot. that you just put in as much in order to put that in, and I would coordinate with the water department on, there's new water main stubs that are gonna be put in as well as new sewer stubs.
Do
I don't
we
think they've
have
started
any-
at this end yet.
Do we have, are we any closer to like a schedule or timeline on that work?
I've heard early 2028 or late 2027.
No,
Okay.
consistent, yeah.
Um,
And
So just
is
a-
there plans available for the layout of those stubs yet?
you should talk, yeah, they've designed them, and they can certainly have some modifications if you need something a little bit different. But I would coordinate, actually, it says late 2027, early 2028, right here in the site plan review comments. I would coordinate with the water department. And they'll tell you where the water stub and the sewer stub is going. And again, like I say, I think there might be still some, I know some people have tweaked it even, even after the contractor's been.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking that maybe the water service that's there today is definitely gonna have to be a little bit bigger, so we should, we'll make sure that they have that so we
Putting
can,
in, yeah, they're replacing the water main.
yeah, okay.
Make sure the stub's the right size for you and that kind of stuff. That would all, I would go ahead and do that. And I don't know how much of an area you're disturbing. I think before you might have been less than an acre, but if you're more than an acre, you're gonna need to get a stormwater management permit from the Conservation Commission. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I'll double check that.
Yeah.
I yeah, I'll double check that.
Actually,
Should
I do
that-
have another-
Should that happen prior to planning filing?
I think the zoning board of appeals typically likes to be the last. So it takes a little while if you really need the storm because it gets peer reviewed. So there's a
Yes.
whole process of going through and getting peer review. Just design review for what we're doing here. We're advisory in the design
Yes.
review committee, but you are going to need to get special permits from the planning board for the duplex use, but then also from the ZBA for a non-conforming structure and to expand that non-conformity. So that will go to the zoning board of appeals, which Dick is on.
If we keep the site improvements under an acre, is there
Disturbance.
under an acre of disturbance, is there what's the review for stormwater?
It's just the engineering department.
Okay, got it.
Can I quick jump in? Just a quick question. So again, it's Jim. On your grading and drainage plan, sheet 4 of 7, and my general knowledge of the area, it appears in your topographies that everything slopes down from Drew towards the buildings. Is there gonna be any catch basins or drainage to catch water? Otherwise, I'm looking at, is your parking lot gonna flood when you get rain? Because looks like it all comes down towards the building versus going away from the building.
Yeah, so we have grading, pitch it towards this basin here, but we also have graded the parking lot this is some flush curb that'll take the water down and out to this basin area. But we also have some catchment in the front here, a trench drain to pitch and catch the water there and infiltrate it into the ground.
Okay, because in that top left, you notice that the elevation drops, what, 6 feet from the road down to that?
Let's see.
uh,
Yes,
Maybe
Yeah, we can
7.
scribe in some better, some more definitive swales there to keep it away from the parking lot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for your interest, because I visualize a lake in your parking lot if you don't do that.
And, and the building rooftop will be piped to the drainage area.
That's it. That was only my question. Thank you
Thank you.
Anything else from anybody?
regarding that.
All right, we'll move on to the building.
Oh, wait.
Where do you want to start, Oscar? Because I have, unless you want to take control of what you have, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if I can, I guess I have very limited, option. I
Tried
think
to
I,
pro-
Yeah, well, you
I tried to
denied
promote
the,
him. Yeah. I can try
yeah.
again.
low on accepting it. I think that's what happened, actually. Sorry.
that's all right. Just tell me what you want to show and I can bring it up. That's not a problem.
Yep.
He's gonna rejoin as a panelist.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's good. Thank you. Okay.
Makes sense.
Hopefully I didn't get rid of him. There,
Oh, sorry. Okay, can you guys hear me?
there there
Yes.
you go.
Okay,
Yep.
all right,
We can hear you and see you.
great. All right, Bill, yeah, maybe I could share and then that way I can just control the plan so that way I'm not have to
That
direct.
would
Sure.
be, there you go.
Okay, let me see. All right, let me know if you guys could see this, or at least you guys also have plans, right?
Correct.
So yeah, so maybe we could just start on the basement just because it's a little bit quicker anyway, so, there is an existing basement now, it's very minimal, it's really just for, I think there's just like a water heater down there right now. So the idea is, once we build upon this new addition, this 4,000 square foot addition, we would do a full basement. Really just for more storage area for the liquor store, just because they're in dire need of just being able to store all their supplies and goods there. Down in the basement, there would be a lift inside that could bring things downstairs. There's a restroom and just like some typical utility room, so sprinkler, electrical room down in the basement. But essentially it's just gonna be storage areas. So, once we then proceed upstairs, so we would keep that existing front portion, that 900 square feet of a sales area, to then build upon another about 2,000 square feet, maybe like 3,000, somewhere in that range, to do new gondolas, new coolers, create like an actual entry with a vestibule space, just make it a lot more inviting for all the users as well, and just make the business of it, the aspect of it, a little bit better, a little bit user friendly. So once we kind of expand upon that sales area, we'll have a back room area where I know when we were in the site plan review, we talked about having like a 3-bay sink and a sink just in case there is like a coffee station, because that's something that we're thinking about introducing as well in the sales area. And then having a can room for can machines as well, that would then shoot downstairs. Along the back of this 4,000 square foot addition is going to be the stair entry for the units upstairs. So it's separated from the actual liquor store to just provide some privacy sakes. And ideally the tenants would park in the back of the building. So those stairs along the back will take you up to the second floor, where we have two about 1,300 square foot units. Anyways, both units are 2 beds with bathroom, full kitchen, living room, dinette, and anyways on each suite there. So I think in terms of the plans, I think that kind of covers everything. Do you guys want to break for some questions here, or do you want me to continue over to?
I just have one question that really isn't in our purview. I'm just curious, though. It's been a while. You're
Yeah.
only required to have one means of egress up there? Is that how it works? From the second floor?
Well, yeah, but technically our bedroom windows act like a means of egress.
Okay, right. Just like a regular residence. Okay.
No,
Correct.
It's also a sprinkler building.
Oh, it is. Okay. Thank you. It's not our purview anyway, but. Thank you.
There's no east view of the building,
Yes,
which would be, is that the east side?
there's an elevation.
The elevations are labeled as wrong on one of the pages there.
Yeah, we did have some elevations, for the building. It's a little, construed it differently because of the angle that's going on, so some of them just, they may look a little strange. I think this is part of where the rendering definitely helps to at it. But we could go through the outside, just to talk about materiality, the materials that we were planning on utilizing here. We're still trying to flush out specs. But
The page with the west elevation and the south elevation, they're labeled wrong. That should be
Oh.
north and
yeah, actually, yeah.
north and east.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the tags
They-
didn't change from the sheets.
They just copied it, yeah.
So
Oh.
can we talk about the elevation, I can go back to, so,
Yeah.
again, going back to our setbacks. I'm wondering why on the second floor we have that, I mean, we're already within inches on our setback, but. On the second floor, you have I don't know what I'm gonna call it, a jog in the living room on unit 1, which further puts you closer to the setback. So I'm wondering, can you eliminate that jog and run that straight down instead of having it get even closer to the setback?
We can on unit 1, yeah, definitely. I think if we're
Just
trying
run
to-
that straight down the wall.
Right, yeah.
It's gonna back up to another building anyway.
Talking about this guy. I don't know if he's,
No, he's talking about right there.
Yeah, on the opposite side, the one that's closest to the
You're just
hotel.
gonna end up having, I mean, I think that was their attempt of having some type of modulation on the building facade.
I
Yeah.
get that, but it backs up directly to another hotel. You're not gonna see that. It's like gonna be like an alleyway down through there.
2-story? Is the hotel
That-
next door 2-story?
Yeah, you'd see it, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Is the hotel next door
Yeah.
2-story?
Yeah.
Yes,
I believe so, yeah.
you might be staring right into.
I mean, I'm actually trying to save you some money because I know every jog costs you another $1, so run a straight wall. You're not further infringing upon the setback. That might make the ZBA a little bit happier for you. I'm just throwing it out there. I just think if you're already there, why not try to do what you can to stay out of there as much as you can versus go into it more.
Yeah, we could definitely
45 feet
straighten
on
it
that
out,
side.
simplify it anyway, so.
Can I? Oh, yeah. it's-
Kathy, should that be 25 feet, that setback on the east side, or was it, what would it be 10?
The front was 25 and the side is,
2 fronts and two sides?
So that should be a side
is
there.
5.
So the little orange line you had on the other plan wasn't correct, actually.
Correct. It's just because there's that anomaly for.
Yeah.
Yeah, because originally we didn't have Drew's Way represented as a true roadway.
Yeah, there's addresses that just have addresses off of Drew's Way, so it's definitely a way.
Yeah, if you go the straight line, it's 8 feet 9 inches, but if you throw that jog in, now you're back into the 4 feet.
Right, yeah.
So if you just, trying to save you a few bucks and maybe a little bit of less grease and aggravation with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Just run a straight wall. Your
Yeah.
tenant won't care. The tenant won't care.
Yeah. I think it was more just from a design aspect, we're trying to keep them as similar as possible, but yeah, I don't think it'll be an issue if we. straighten
Yeah,
it
I can appreciate the design on the west side where it's gonna be seen visually, but the east side, like I said, if my memory serves me, that's gonna be like an alley between the two buildings. The hotel next door. So why not just run it straight and
So you can change the materials though, right? It's like you're shown on. Without cantilevering it, you can still keep the vertical.
And you'd keep the roof pit or
The
do
roof
something with
pitch,
the
yeah.
roof.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we could probably just essentially grab that volume and pull it back into the main structure,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Do you have any issues with the close proximity of the abutting structure and windows?
There is a calculation and we haven't really flushed completely through it, but depending on how close you get to the property line, there is a percentage of openings that you're allowed, and it just depends on how close you get to the property line at that point. So there, I think it is like, maybe like within 5 to 10 feet, it might be around like 20 to 15%. Which kind of is why on the back side, there is no windows on the first floor, on that,
Right, right.
what
That's
should
what I
be-
figured.
Yeah, which is why essentially it's a blank wall, so, because we just need to allow for some of that square footage to be accounted for upstairs. I guess just to continue on the outside anyways, we could kind of talk about some of the materials that we were planning on utilizing. Maybe I'll pull up that material board. Might be a little easier to follow. Where essentially we were gonna do, there is gonna be a mix of a pitched and a flat roof. So obviously the sloped areas would have an asphalt roof shingle, a CertainTeed likely, shingle on there. What you don't see on the rendering is, yeah, basically we were gonna utilize that mansard roof that's there and do a flat roof behind it. We're gonna do a brick water table. It was gonna likely be a thin brick, and then accent the entry area with some of that brick as well, and some of the piers, as you can see it. Just to kind of help break up some of the materials. Anyways, we're going with a composite material for the lap siding and the shakes. It's called Select anyway, so it's different from like a James Hardy, which is cementitious. This is a composite, so there's a whole lot less movement in it. And it's easier to build just because it cuts a lot easier and it installs a lot better and quicker than the James Hardy material. So that's what we were proposing, at least horizontal lap siding for the first floor, and then shakes up on the upper floor. It's a little, it's a little hard to see in the rendering, but the upper floors have some. Then select board and batten just to accentuate some of the entryways and the gable peaks as well. So just to kind of help break up some of the materials going on there. And then just over the entryway, and there's a bit over the front entry or the front area where the bedroom windows are. There is a red metal roof, same thing, more of like an accent just to kind of help play off the brick a little bit and help tie everything together. So the liquor store signs are existing. So the idea was that, yeah, we were just gonna kind of just remove them to do the new roof and then install them back into place. And hopefully clean them up a little bit, so.
They meet zoning?
He has 2 of them, so I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
I guess I guess the idea was that they would be existing non-conforming because they are there. We could probably double check with the zoning code just to see how much the signage would be allowed, but.
I think if there's 2 of them there and they're too big or whatever, that has to be looked at.
I don't like it.
You do?
I like it.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
a nod to the past. That's how I
Mhm.
feel.
It is.
When you used to buy juicy fruit gum. I feel like it's part of history. I'm assuming it's the original signage. I don't know that,
It
but
is.
but to
Yeah,
me,
right.
it's a great homage to the past, in my opinion, but that's just me. I don't want to get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah, the question, I don't know where it comes to when you're making that big of changes to it. Whether the original signage is grandfathered,
Right.
I would suspect it's not.
Existing non-conforming.
Other questions, comments?
No,
Okay.
I have a couple of quick ones. Do you want me to go first?
ahead, yeah.
Kind of wish you'd come in front of the road bylaw on this, because I'm not a big fan of the brick veneer. I really like to keep Cape Cod looking like Cape Cod and not New Jersey. It's my personal editorial comment. I don't like the brick front. I like that you broke things up a little bit. Lots of different materials here to give you some perspective. I'm not the architect in the group, but just my personal preference is that I would prefer not to use so much brick. That's my only.
What would you prefer?
Cedar shingle.
Yeah, cedar shingle or something more New Englandy than New Jersey, New
Yeah.
Jersey. New Jersey.
Well, you have this,
That was gonna be
where
my
are you gonna
point
be
as well.
putting the cedar shingles? I mean, I see where you're putting the clapboards.
It's
but-
composite.
The shakes are going on the second floor area, so it's a little hard to see on there, but essentially where those three windows are up above.
Oh, there you go.
Is where the shakes are, so I mean, we could always like incorporate more shakes. Perhaps even like behind the signage anyways, we could look at maybe reducing some of the brick water table, on maybe we go with like a panel perhaps.
We've seen more wainscoting, kind of like almost
Breaking
of
it
the
up.
brick, not necessarily of all of the building. That, I think that's kind of what,
Yeah, it's. Like I said, I'd rather it look more like it belongs on Cape Cod than. I'll say New Jersey, because I can't think of anywhere else, but just. Less brick, I think is the answer, but I'll yield to our architect is. to her
Oh, no,
opinion.
no.
Do you agree that
No,
maybe?
It's funny how I was thinking about the brick and how I usually object to it, and for some reason I didn't, but.
That's why
yeah.
that's why I yielded to you, because I thought.
I like the look of it. I thought it was different.
Yeah,
but now that
I'm
you're
not saying it looks bad, I'm just saying that
It doesn't feel like
It
what you
doesn't-
want it to feel like.
it
just
doesn't
like the
feel like
sign,
it should
Even
be.
though the sign is Cape Cod.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we've been trying to do since,
I
Dick and I were in junior high school was, to try to change the image of Route 28. The road bylaw was one of them, so
You know,
I'm just trying to encourage you to try to look at a little bit more New Englandy. How's that? Is that too vague of a comment from me personally?
And I would concur.
I don't necessarily, but I'll go. with the
I can,
majority.
yeah, I can go either way. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it stand out a little bit more than some of the other buildings around there. But if the signage is okay, I think the signage, as Sarah said, is a homage to the past, and it kind of does what it relates to the past, but it's something new. I guess what I'm trying to say, the signage makes it stand out. If you're gonna be allowed to keep that, then I think you could do with some less brick. And still achieve what you're trying to do, make it stand out a little bit.
Is it really just the front facade along?
Yeah.
28?
Yeah, maybe just the
Yeah,
front.
really.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the front and the parking lot side.
I don't know, I kind of like, could you leave the brick on the parking lot side and just do something different in the front?
Mm,
I mean, if you look at the elevations, you can see how they have like, they wanted like the brick elements going up and down, and then so
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah.
the front part
Right.
over there could be something different. Or maybe even if it just had the brick at the bottom and then you had just clapboard.
Well,
I
that's,
don't dislike.
I think if you're gonna change any of it, that I would keep the brick as a wainscoting and then apply that blue, the blue
This
composite shake all the way through the building. So it's horizontally all the way through.
Oh, that would
Right,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess, yeah, I think if we keep some of the brick on here, I guess ideally probably keeping some of the piers just to kind of help tie it back. And then, I think,
Yes.
like probably behind the Becker sign, we could do blue shakes just to kind of help break it up, not doing so much siding. And then we would likely mimic that on the parking lot side as well, so the inset would be shakes, so.
So are you saying what I suggested? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
so,
understanding. what
yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, so the inset areas, so essentially where the windows are and then where the
Yeah.
Becker signage is would be shakes, the blue shakes. And then we would keep the brick water table, but I guess probably the one thing that we would have to go back and revisit is these brick piers that we kind of have throughout. And whether or
Oh,
not
the piers,
those just go away, or like whether or not those just become maybe more just work.
I think
I
he's just
see.
talking about putting the blue here,
I think he's talking-
taking this blue here and wrapping it
These
on
things are-
behind that
That's
Becker
right.
sign.
Right.
So just kind of like in between those windows in the front behind the Becker sign would be the blue
Mhm.
to help break
Right.
up. So
Okay.
underneath it would be the wainscoting, and then you'd have it up on the sides But I think that would help.
What about here, Kathy? I'm sorry, I'm dense today. I just can't quite figure out.
I think what he was talking about was keeping this all brick and then just, and keeping these and then making this.
Okay,
I mean, you could even, like, the other thing is you could do this and then do the blue there as well, like wrap the blue around.
yeah.
Yeah, just take number, where it says number 5, just wrap that to your left, all the way around to the corner where it says back, where the lights are. Keep the wainscot like it is on the west west,
Yeah,
the Hyannis side.
yeah,
Just mimic that around to the front, and I think it'd be good. The building's gonna stand out no matter what.
But yeah, for the signage and for the, yeah.
And I would compliment you on the look of it, I just don't like the materials.
yeah.
personally.
The brick.
And I don't like the fact that it costs more than a nickel for buy a pack of gum there anymore either.
Those days are gone.
Yeah. First thing I ever purchased on my own was
Really?
yeah,
From Becker's?
Becca's, yeah, as a little kid.
Oh.
I was like 9.
And my comments would be the same as Jim's, actually.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's definitely fine, and then obviously we'll look at it also just in terms of, yeah, probably the piers, maybe they go away, maybe those aren't brick either. At that point, maybe that's more just trim work perhaps, so, we'll try and see what makes sense, at least it's how kind of reduce the brick anyway, so.
Mhm.
I think if you could just redo something like that and send it along to me, I can just see if, anybody has any comments on it, but I think you
Okay,
could not change a significant amount
Right.
and still make a big difference to address some of the comments in the front.
Can I ask one other question? What is
Yeah.
the item to the left of the vestibule? It's looks like a
sign.
triangle sign, is that just a sign?
Looks like a nice thing.
yeah, it was just basically like a graphic sign, like sometimes they'll have graphics on the glass, like to promote like a beer or.
Oh, okay,
New
that a
item,
glass-
that was kind of the idea. I think same thing, that might have to fall a little bit on zoning, I guess, just to see how the graphics apply. But,
yeah, because I think that'll count as signage and they're gonna count that against the whole, so you might wanna think of maybe putting I don't know, a large tree there or something.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Get what you're trying to do, but I'm just concerning with regards to the sign code as to whether how they handle that with you.
Gotcha, okay, no, yeah, I think that makes sense.
But if you make that the blue clapboards. that would be
Yeah, if
good.
it's blue clapboard, then that sign would go away, anyway. It could go away.
Right.
But just keeping in mind that if the more signage you add, the more you're gonna have to go back and you might have to take one of those liquor signs down or something to,
You want to stick special permit as much as possible and avoid variances,
Yeah.
so I would talk to Mark about the signs. And what he determines whether that would be. And I'm sure they're probably, if that's exactly what's there now, then they are grandfathered. So,
is there one there now? Okay.
Hmm?
So it sound like that now?
No,
No, that entryway is an addition as well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's right, it's gonna kick out now instead of, yeah.
yeah.
okay.
And I love the fact that your person there is dressed in farmer jeans, that's very cool.
The detail is really good, especially when you zoom in, it looks very.
It's like, wait a minute, you got farmer jeans on.
So are we ready to go through?
Yeah, makes
Yes,
sense.
yes.
yeah.
Thank you, by the way.
Nice
So we're
work.
just gonna go through the different siting and building strategies and kind of identify issues or not. I think the streetscape, I think they meet the standards. They have they've done a great job with it. And I really appreciate the improvements to the parking lot area and the reduction in the curb cut width, which was very, very all over the place there. Tenant space is really not applicable. It's not that big of a building. Defining the street edge, I think, again, meets the standards. We do like to bring the building up closer to the roadway and having additional trees to help define the edge on the sides. Shielding large buildings, not applicable. It's not a large building. Designing a second story, I think it meets the standards because we have a second story. Use of topo to screen new development is really not applicable in this circumstance. Landscaping buffers and screenings, I said it meets the standards if the trees are 3-inch caliber native species and buffer plantings are located on the east side of the rear parking lot.
Okay,
I'm looking at these people.
No,
No,
East-
west side.
East side,
Behind there.
yeah, all of them, they have trees there, but they need to be 3-inch caliber native species, which is what Dick was talking about. So
Oh,
the
okay.
plantings here need to meet the standards, they have it here meeting the standards, you don't need to have them in front of the building per se. But then they also need to have something here.
Yeah.
Parking lot,
We're not showing any plantings on the east side then at all, right?
not where the building is, and technically you really don't have to do the plantings for the building, 'cause what you really are screening is the parking lot. I don't think you want trees there, it's way too close to both roads.
Yeah, you couldn't, I don't think that'd survive.
I don't think they'd survive, and I don't think it would be a good idea. Parking lot, visibility meets the standards, parking is located to the side and rear of the building with access improvements. Breaking up large parking lots, I think there is a discrepancy because I think it appears to need additional in-lot trees and they should coordinate with the building commissioner.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll have any trouble getting them in there. The one question had to do with locating utilities underground. There's an overhead utility line that comes to a pole that's on your property that looks like it also services the Econo Lodge next door. I'm assuming that you are not having any plans to underground utilities.
So
I can
that,
understand why you're not.
yeah, we'll have to coordinate, that, there's a pole that comes in. And it looks like it's just site lighting. But then there's a pole on the eastern side of the building that
Right,
is, servicing. So that would be, coordination with the utility company to see how we can, how that's gonna be managed. Because obviously we're gonna have to keep appropriate distances from the addition. So we'll have to coordinate, if that pole has to get moved over and what happens there.
Just the pole on the opposite side of the street that we're referring to?
no, it's right to the east side of the building.
Yeah, it's right up against the building.
I don't know, Oscar, if you can bring up, I'm looking at Google Earth quick just to see it, but it's right.
Yeah, I have it up on my screen. I don't know if you guys, if everyone sees it on my end.
We
We're
we
still
see
seeing the
rendering.
materials.
Oh, okay, let me, I may have to share again. Hold on. I think, okay, here we go.
Oh, okay, that pole.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see the wires come across from the other side of the street.
That's unsightly.
Yeah.
Whatever they do is gonna look really nice.
And I think that's a good video,
Yeah.
visual, that you can see the distance between the two buildings.
Yes, yeah.
Did you say you couldn't see the east elevation as you're driving down Route 28? You can.
Yeah, you're gonna see the front part, and I think they have done
And
some
the
stuff
side.
to the front part of the building,
I
but
mean, this-
as you get back further,
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure. Yeah. We'll need to coordinate with the utility companies regarding location of existing pole and investigate undergrounding.
These are new signs.
Yes.
It could be very
These are new.
expensive is the only reason I say that.
Well, he's just.
Well, what's there now does not look nice.
No, it does not.
That looks.
Lots of times,
That
and this
looks
is,
like
this
it's
is the
pictures.
problem that we ran into in another project, is like this pole. You might be able to go to the pole and then go underground to yours, but you're also servicing an entire hotel off that pole, so that some of these things might be outside their control a little bit.
Interesting.
I think there might be some discrepancies on that one, when just noting that we'll need to coordinate with the utility company regarding location of existing utility pole and investigate undergrounding the utilities.
Signage on the side there now too. Surfboards.
Shielding the loading areas, I think it meets the standards because the loading area is in the rear of the property and it's relatively screened. It's not like a loading dock, it's just a place where they're gonna be. What type of trucks do you have coming in for deliveries? Is it box trucks?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, yeah.
That's like the only thing you have room for.
Yeah, it would be box trucks and, the garbage truck to,
Yeah,
service the
Yeah.
dumpster.
So I will ask in lieu of Charlie, where are the dumpsters?
Right here.
I mean, are they gonna stay there? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I showed her where the dumpsters.
Okay, never mind, thank you.
If
Yeah,
Charlie
it'll be
gets
a
the
full,
dumpster-
dumpster enclosure and
lighting.
loading area.
They're both going?
It's a chain link fence with the slats versus a solid wood enclosure. Is my only comment to you guys.
No more.
Yeah,
surfboards,
that's a
no more
typical,
boats.
we'll change that to be solid.
Yeah, typically we like to see the solid.
Yeah, I
um,
apologize for that. That's usually what we have, but right now I'm just showing that, that chain link.
Okay,
I like that asphalt in the front is going away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I
There's a
think
lot
there'll
of
be a
good
lot
that's
more.
going away. It's a good thing.
It's gonna look nice.
It's gonna buff it up really nice.
good things that are happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially because it's kind of like near the gateway, it's like the entrance of
yeah, good point.
town,
good
so
point.
I'm really glad to see them doing this.
And
Breaking down multiple building mass into multiple buildings, not applicable, submasses, I think they've
Very
tried to
good.
do that with their layout.
Yeah.
Varying the facade lines, obviously it's a discrepancy. I had said the facades of greater than 50 feet. The facades are greater than 50 feet without modulation, but the upper level is setback, creating variation in the west elevation facade line. And then I said, and there was a small bump out on the east elevation.
That's right.
Do we want to say, I know that design review committee was supportive of eliminating the one on the, do you want to say that?
I prefer to say that.
Does the group say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. East elevation to provide more side setback.
I have to move the boat.
Yeah,
Plenty
I
of
think they're
room.
still, I think they're trying to sell the boat and
Sell it?
with it.
Been there a while.
Yeah, yeah.
It's worth it just to have someone take it away.
Varying the wall heights, I think it meets the standards, varying the roof lines meets the standards,
Yeah.
bringing down building edges meets the standards, varying building materials meets the standards, but this might be a good place for you to comment on. You know, like, suggested modifications along the Route 28 facade to include a brick
Wayne's Code.
coating with more blue clapboards.
What's
Cellular
calling it?
compost
Composite.
select.
Blue
Cellular
composite.
compost select.
Spelled with a
Shake.
CELECT.
What is-
5.
I'm way behind you.
No, it's
Oh, I
5 or
thought-
6.
5, I
5.
think. No, I'm not saying that.
You want to shake?
With more fun.
No, I'm not, I didn't mean to say anything.
Having a good day today.
Is that,
really.
is that, it's a blue clapboard, it's a
Yeah.
horizontal clapboard.
It's
Correct.
number 5. It's a cellular compost select.
Yeah.
7-inch horizontal lap
Right,
groove.
it's not the shake.
Or maybe it's the shake on the right.
Yeah, I'm fine with either one.
Either one.
Is the horizontal lap, what color is that? Is that a gray or a blue? It's hard to tell.
It's supposed to be blue. Yeah.
Oh,
So
it is,
the
oh, okay.
shake and the siding are the same color.
Oh, okay, it didn't,
Looks kinda
doesn't,
groovy.
okay. All
We
right,
can
doesn't
say
matter to
Or,
me.
or shakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like the shakes better, but
Do you?
I do like the shakes better.
Yeah, I was leaning also more towards the shakes just to help break it
Either.
up.
Okay.
I agree with our architect in residence.
I'm tired.
That's okay, still counts, still got the degree and years of experience.
I got to be on this.
So just- Suggested modifications along the Route 28 facade to include brick wainscoting with composite blue shakes.
I'm recovering
Yep.
from a cold.
So use of traditional natural building materials, I think it meets the standards.
Mhm.
Incorporate pedestrian scale features, I think it meets the standards, you have the bump out with the little portico. Incorporating energy efficient design, you're gonna have to, that might be interesting with the, don't you have to do a HERS rating? For the new build, for the building with the old building?
Yes, correct. That's something that we had also talked about with the owner about. We're planning on providing some solar panels. They're gonna likely go on that flat roof section. that we're gonna have in front of the bedroom windows. But yeah, that's something that the HERS rating is gonna ask us, is gonna require that anyways. I think this might be in the stretch code. So the
Yeah.
stretch code would require it anyways as well.
Stretch energy code, yeah, we're a stretch energy code town.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's something we're been very familiar with lately.
Good luck.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, I've heard it's been interesting as they keep changing it, making it tighter and tighter and tighter. Oops, sorry. So I'm just gonna put in that you're considering roof mounted solar.
Yep,
Okay. Okay. All right, my notes are a disaster area. Typically, what I do is I try to do the minutes to the meeting at the same time we're having the meeting, because I don't like to make things easy on myself.
You don't wanna look at
She
it.
does
I
a
don't
good
wanna-
job.
We meet so irregularly,
very
we
fast
wouldn't
on
have
that. She
approved
does this.
minutes if I didn't do it this way.
You could send them out.
So, yeah, no, I can't do it that way, sorry. Doesn't need open meeting law, that's why I have to read them. Bill Laveri and Oscar Ramirez gave an overview of the Laveri reviewing the site plans containing 3 separate parcels. The existing single-story structure is in the easternmost parcel with associated parking to the west. The lots will be combined and are proposing a new expanded structure with first floor expansion for a larger Becker's package store and a second story for 2 dwelling units. Site improvements include revisions to the parking for easier accessible parking along the building edge and more pockets of landscaping in the front. Rear parking is for the residential entry. Also aware of the Mass DOT future streetscape improvements and will need to file a Mass DOT access permit to modify curb cut. Drainage will be directed to a low spot in the rear of the building with pre-treatment. There's a small trench and infiltration in the front. We'll upgrade the existing septic system and in a new location, and there'll be shrubs and flowering plants around the building along with buffer trees. Oscar Ramirez gave an overview of the architecture, starting with a review of the floor plans, including expansion of the basement area for storage with a lift, utility rooms, and a restroom. First floor includes expanded sales area and backroom storage area with sink for possible coffee station and can recycling. Stairs in the rear to the second floor where there are 2 1,300 square foot 2-bedroom units. Oscar reviewed the proposed elevation and talked about building materials. Materials include asphalt shingles with a colonial metal red roof on the entrance overhang for premier positive gable ends and bump outs with areas of clapboards and shades. Existing signage would be removed and replaced. Design review committee questions and discussions. And this is where it gets all over the place. So I apologize. Dick Martin thought the design and the site plan is good, inquired about the inlet trees, and Kathy Williams noted that they may be short a couple as they need 1 per 8 spaces. Mr. Martin asked about the plans for the rear of the lot, and Oscar indicated maybe some expansion in the future, but not at this time. Mr. Martin asked about what portion of the building is being retained. Oscar indicated adding over 4,000 square feet to the commercial space. Buffer trees along Drew's Way should match buffer tree requirements. Mr. Martin thought the existing building is very close to Route 28 and the side buffer and would prefer it to be pushed back to meet proper setbacks on all sides and allow for buffer trees in the front. There's only an 8-foot to the eastern sideline and the hotel is very close. Mr. Martin inquired about whether the existing signage is grandfathered. And Mr. Martin felt that he would prefer less brick and more shingles or clapboards. Jim Saban asked about what parts of the building that are being retained. Oscar indicated the existing sales area would be retained to keep the store open during construction in the back, keeping about 900 square feet, with the addition being over 4,000 square feet. Mr. Saban was also concerned with the setbacks. Oscar indicated they would have to demo the entire building to get the front and side setbacks. Mr. Saban asked about the grades and ensuring that it's pitched away from the parking lot and building. Bill noted that there is proposed drainage in place to address this, but we'll look at additional swales. Mr. Saban asked why the second floor bump out on the living room why the second bump out in the living room was included as it makes it closer to the side yard setback, and can that be eliminated? Kathy Williams indicated it was their attempt to vary the facade. Oscar noted that this could be eliminated. Jim Saban is not a big fan of the brick veneer, like that it's broken up with different materials, but he would prefer more cedar shingle. It's like more cowbell, more shingle. Steve O'Neill asked about the use for additional commercial square footage. Oscar indicated it would be increased sales area by 2,000 square feet with remaining for storage. Mr. O'Neill thanked them for staying in town and expanding in Yarmouth. Mr. O'Neill felt that the existing signage helps the building stand out. Sarah Porter liked the building, and had no problems with the building being close to the front setback. She likes it just the way it is. Sarah Porter asked about the means of the egress for the second floor. Oscar noted that the bedroom windows are emergency egress, with Kathy Williams noting the building would be sprinkled. Sarah would prefer a brick wainscoting in the front with blue clapboards wrapped around. Oh, do you care about the shakes? You don't?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, thank you. Oscar noted there would be some changes to the there could be some changes to the inset areas in the front. Kathy Williams noted they may wish to have the sewer line come out the west side with a future sewer line for easy connection to the municipal sewer, coordinate sewer stub and water locations with the water department. As the site plan has changed, recommend coordinating with the fire department and building commissioner on zoning compliance and specific relief needed. And if disturbing more than 1 acre, we'll need a stormwater management permit for conservation. That sound good?
Mhm.
Great.
All right, so I am looking for a motion to
So moved.
accept. Okay, to accept
Second.
these design review comments as a meeting minutes. So I'm sorry, Jim Saban?
Yep.
Moved it and,
Second, Steve.
Yay.
okay, and we just need to vote.
I,
Somebody needs to run the
Aye.
meeting, Dick Martin.
oh, I'm sorry. Anything else?
4-0.
All right, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Thank you. And
Carries
now,
unanimously.
unless you have any other questions, I'm gonna look for a motion to adjourn the meeting, so.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right.
Wait a minute, do
Thank
they
you
have any
all
questions?
very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
and we'll be in touch with you, Kathy, to move forward to the next steps.
Yeah.
The one thing I would note is that these meeting minutes, you will get a copy of, you will sign them and send it back to me, just like site plan review, but I have to do it electronically.
Okay.
Jim just
Nope.
wants to make
Hey,
sure
hey,
you're gonna still be selling juicy fruit gum there, like you did in the what, 50s?
Yeah.
Oh, the 60s.
60s.
Probably has to say
Free-
probably
We'll,
1963
and we'll
or
make
four.
sure that the price is held at a nickel.
Just for you guys.
I'm guessing it's probably I don't know how many years Becker's has been there, but that was probably 63 or 64, so,
Wow.
I mean, it's been there,
Bought the
it's a
gum
town.
covers
That's another
alcohol,
question.
The bottle of beer he stole.
This building's not over 100 years old, right?
No,
No.
Okay,
Is it over 75?
no.
don't, no, I
You
don't
can
think
look it up
so.
on the Board of Assessors, right?
Yeah, I don't know whether that's considered a building that would require demolition delay.
I
But-
don't,
No.
But
better,
also it could just be the front,
I wouldn't
if
think
it's,
so either.
if it's anything, it would just be the front section, not the back.
Yeah.
You can look it up in the assessors, I can't get online here.
Yeah, we do have a demolition delay for historic structures, which you kind of consider anything over 75 years old. So,
Okay. Yeah, we could definitely look into that. I'm not too, because I think there was an addition, like the rear of the building is an addition. It's all completely framed differently, but the front seems to be more original. So,
So that
Most
would be
likely
another
you're
reason
okay.
for keeping it up.
Leave it out.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure you've done some type of structural analysis on that
Yeah,
existing
exactly.
building that it's still good. And handle all what you're doing to it.
And I'd suggest that you try and talk to Mark Grills to get an idea of what he'd suggest you can and can't do and what you need really for.
I have no idea.
okay,
You just get on it.
yeah, good meeting with Mark will save you a lot of
I
time
think
and
there's a
keep it
guest-
right.
is there a guest one?
Can't get in it.
Oh, you can't? Okay. So there's a motion by Steve to adjourn and had seconded by Sarah.
Okay,
All those in favor?
and
I
I
wanna
think
stay.
we take that.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye, aye.
Hey,
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
look forward to.
Thank you.
Becker's.
Question particularly.
Thank you,
for
guys.
you.
All right, bye-bye.
So the
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, goodbye.
Good night.
So the Riverview Restaurant has a neon sign, correct?